Welcome back to my channel. So in today's video you're going to see me continuing to work on my Daybreak quilt by Bonnie Hunter, and you're going to see me starting my Evergreen quilt by the Fat Quarter Shop, a new Pat Sloan quilt along that is not really new, it was ran last year, and also the birthday cake quilt by It's So Emma, which is owned by the Fat Quarter Shop. So they're the 4 different projects that you're going to see how much progress I have done in this video. So if you enjoy this style of video, please subscribe and give the video a thumbs up. And now let's get on with the video. So the first project I'm going to show you is the Sweet Dreams by Pat Sloan, and as you can see this was ran last year in January through to May, so it is a little bit old, and this is the actual second time I've made this quilt. I did make this quilt last year when it was ran, but I have since sold it on eBay, and this one will be sold on eBay. It is a free pattern on her website, I Love to Make Quilts. So this is block 1, and I'm going to do this very scrappy. It's going to be a very scrappy quilt. So block 1 is called Brownie Love, and this whole quilt along is dessert based, so the blocks are named after some sort of dessert, and Pat Sloan has named them all. So it would be desserts that she liked or that she grew up with or reminisce with her in her childhood. It's just dessert orientated. So as you can see, they are very simple. They're going to be very simple blocks, and I'm trying to use up a lot of my scraps. That's why I'm trying to do it scrappy. So here's block 2, and she has called it Boston Cream Pie. I'm not too sure what Boston Cream Pie is because I can't get it over here in Australia, so I'm not 100% sure what it is. As you can see, I've used some novelty prints for this block, and I did fussy cut that center and that monster for this quilt block, sorry. And I do like how that yellow pops in the center. I was looking for something that popped, and I think that yellow really does just pop and stand out. So here's the third block, and Pat has called it Angel Food Cake. I know what an angel food cake is. I can't say I've ever had one, but I do know what one is. I just decided to do the heart in the one colour. She did strips in her quilt, and the way that she wrote the pattern, it's for strips, but I decided to do the heart in just that one red. I just thought that would just be more effective, and I just liked the all one colour. The first one I did do the strips, so this time I wanted to do something a little bit different, so that's why I went with this Christmassy red print for this block. So here are the first 3 blocks together on my design wall. As you can see, and you might get an idea, that it is going to be a very scrappy quilt, but I'm going to use the same white homespun in the background. So every block will have that exact same white homespun, but all the prints are going to be as scrappy and just as scrappy as I can actually get them. So if you watched my sewing room tour, you would have seen the plastic containers that I keep some of my pre-cut scraps in. So they're the pre-cut scraps that I'm trying to use up in this quilt. There are going to be some bigger pieces I'm going to have to use, but I first go to those containers to use up those scraps first. So that's the progress of quilt number 1, and it's my quilt along by Pat Sloan from last year. So my second quilt I have to show you is still my Daybreak by Bonnie Hunter. And in previous videos I have shown you the pattern and where I found it. It is from her String Flings book. And this is, I'm currently showing you the next 2 rows that I have put together into blocks of 4. So basically in these few clips I'm just showing you right to left with the 2 rows. So they're in blocks of 4 because I find that easier to join them. And so this one here is the middle one. The one I just showed you was one that will be on the right hand side, and then this one here will attach to it when I come back to this quilt next week. Then soon I'm going to show you the one on the right hand side. So I'm probably about halfway done with this quilt, as you have probably can tell, and that this is a very long term project. It's got very small pieces, and very small pieces do take a while to sew up. And I'm trying to get it scrappy once again. I like my scrappy quilts, and I'm trying to use up a lot of my scraps because I've got so many scraps. So this quilt here isn't starched, and neither is the first quilt that you saw. Anything that I sell on eBay, sometimes will be starched and sometimes won't be starched. It just depends on what I'm doing and what I've got starch and what I don't have starch. Because I'm trying to catch up on starch from the pandemic when starch was so rare and I couldn't get it very much, I've got a lot of stuff that's unstarched that I'm trying to use up, and they're the things that will go into my quilts on eBay. The next 2 rows look like together before each of those blocks are sewn. Those 4 patches are sewn together to make the row. So this is what it looks like on my design wall, and I think it looks very scrappy, and I like the way this is actually looking, and I hope this sells very fast on eBay actually, and I think it will appeal to a lot of people. Similar to the first quilt, my same fabric is that black homespun. So that black homespun is the background in every single block. That's what I'm keeping as the same, and it's also in those 4 patches that you can see as well in between the sashing. So that's the fabric and the only bit of fabric that I'm keeping the same. The other sames that doubles up, because it's just the nature of this style of quilt, there are always going to be things that double, but that's the fabric that stays the exact same and doesn't get changed, is the background of each block. So for this quilt, I have used up all my strings in my neutral bucket, so I do have to start my string neutral bucket again, and I am using and making a good dent in all my little scraps for my neutrals to make those 4 patches that you see in the center before they go on point. So that's basically the goal for this quilt, was to use up a lot of my neutral scraps, and I did want to clear out all my neutral strings because I do want to start all over again with my neutral strings. So I think I've accomplished that, and I'm very happy that I actually did get that accomplished. This is the whole quilt now that I've done so far all together on my design wall, and it looks very nice and it's very scrappy, and I love the way this quilt is coming out. If it wasn't so big, I would probably have kept it for myself. Quilt number 3 is called the Birthday Quilt by It's So Emma, and It's So Emma is owned by the Fat Quarter Shop. It is in the Perfect 10 book from memory, so it is a paid pattern, so I can't show you the actual cutting instructions, but this is the layout of the quilt and what it will look like when I've actually finished my version of the quilt. So once again, it is going to be a very scrappy quilt, and a lot of scraps are going to go into this quilt. So here are the blocks, some of my blocks, they're not all of my blocks. In the next clip you'll see all the blocks that I've done so far. So this is just a handful of the blocks that I have done in this for this quilt. They're very easy, it's very simple, and it's very fast to put together. As you can see, it's squares and half square triangles. It is a very quick and easy project, and I love those sort of projects, especially ones that I'm going to sell on eBay. Once again, all these fabrics are unstarched, so why I like quick and easy for eBay is because I can rotate quilts quicker and I can get things on and get things sold, and then basically I'm making more and more quilts which will eventually all go on eBay. Any scraps or any bits of fabric that I feel like using, there's no rhyme or rhythm to what I'm using or anything like that in this quilt. It's whatever I feel like doing, and once again the same fabric is the white for the background. This is a layout of the quilt. So as you can see, I haven't done the sashing yet, so it's going to look a little bit different once all my sashing is in. But this is all the blocks I've done so far, and basically the direction they're meant to be laid out in the quilt. I'm not worrying about directional fabrics in this quilt because I've got so many and they go all different directions. I just want to disperse my colours and make sure I've got an even amount of colours throughout the quilt, and the same or similar colours aren't actually together. So for example, I don't want 2 yellows together or 2 blues together. I want to diverse them and split them all up just as much as I can for this quilt. So I'm liking this quilt, and I'm actually going to make one and keep it for myself, but in different fabrics and probably a theme, so Christmas or Halloween or some sort of theme is what I think I'll do for my one. It's very quick, so I'll get it whipped up very quick. This one won't be in many videos because it's going to be a very quick finish. So this one in the next couple of videos I think will be finished, and then I'll add other stuff to my to-do list. You won't see the same fabric getting used more than once. I do want to do different fabrics for this one, just because it's on the smaller side. I don't want to repeat any fabrics in this quilt. So this quilt will be a lot more scrappier than what you've seen, because nothing will be repeated in this quilt. That's my hope anyway, and that's what I'm trying to aim for. So my final quilt I have to show you for this video is the Evergreen quilt by the Fat Quarter Shop. So this was ran as a quilt along back in June or July of this year. This is the second one I've made. This one I'm going to keep for myself. The first one I made I actually sold and I no longer have it. But this one here is going to be for myself, and we will put it up on our wall at some point next year. So this is week 1. So this is basically what week 1 looks like. So it's a row quilt. So you do your rows, and then at the end you put all the rows together. So week 1 was the present. So it's the presents underneath the tree is what they were going for. And in this quilt I'm going to use a lot more Christmas prints. The first one I didn't use as much Christmas prints, but this one, as you'll see in a minute, my presents I want to use Christmas prints as if it's Christmas paper. So you'll see all my presents are now in Christmas prints. I'm trying to represent it as Christmas paper and get it more Christmas. The other thing I changed was the background. I'm actually doing a black background with still the green tree. The green is also different, but I'm doing a green tree on a black background with a lot more Christmas prints. It's going to be full of Christmas prints. Even that white tonal one, that white one is puddings and Christmas prints in that sense as well. And that stocking one you see, that is going to be a border. So I'm going to put a border on that, and that's the border that I have chosen for this quilt. So each video until this quilt is finished, you will see me sew one row. So I'm only going to show you one row at a time per video, because I really only work on each project for an hour in that day, and then I switch onto another one, and that's how I get a fair bit accomplished in one day, is I'm only working on them for an hour. I hope you enjoyed this video and coming along to see what I was sewing on in this video. In my next video there will be 4 different quilts that I am sewing on. So if you did, please consider subscribing and giving it a like. And until my next video, God bless and have a great day. See you later.